Yeet. Alright. Alright, hold up. Okay. Okay. Just to make sure that this is working right. Alright, let's see if this thing is working correctly. Okay. So let's look at this. Car builds in Need for Speed Heat. There's a lot of misconceptions about not only cars in general, but racing and, you know, the nuance of tuning and etc. And well, let's look at Need for Speed Heat, this game as an example. You play it, and if you're casually just playing this game, yeah, you would probably be thinking, okay, it's just a simple video game. If a car is bad, it's just simply bad. And that is the case for some of these cars, but in all reality, because this game has engine swapping, this is the thing that completely changes the dynamic of every car. And I mean every single car. Not only can you change the engine, but it changes the car entirely. So let's make an example here. It's like, I believe the stock engine is, yeah. So if you were to fully upgrade the stock engine, you can tell right away that, you know, it's not going to cut it. It's just not fast enough. And even if it's like, oh, it's decent, it's at a level 381, and, you know, the numbers don't look that bad comparatively. And even if it is kind of bad numbers wise comparatively, see, this is the deal with this. This is what people don't understand. Not only can you engine swap it to another engine, but you have multiple engine options. And mind you, every single engine operates completely different from the other engines. And even if they can be similar, there's still differences. And I mean like very intricate differences. You can tell just by using the different versions of, or the different engine that you put in a car. Like, example, if you were to go with the stock engine on the Aston Martin, I think it's a DB5 or DBS, whatever, the 1964 model. If you go with the stock engine, fully upgrade it, and fully do the whole build, it's possible that, one, it's not going to feel powerful, and two, it might be heavy in the corners, or it might be lightweight. It might turn quickly, it might turn like a boat. But that's where this game is not so clean cut. It's not simple. It's not a simple game. The concept is simple, but the intricacies is what makes it not a simple game. Because not only do you have that just with one engine, but now if you try to do that with this engine, the whole dynamic of the car changes. Then again, like I said, if you have the stock engine, it's the same deal. It's the same exact deal. And then you have the 4-liter V8, but then if you were to go with the 4.9 flat 12, now it can react completely differently as well. So to just get to the point, every engine changes your car. Every engine. If you have the stock engine, your car is going to be completely different. If you have a different engine, completely different. And that's just with the engine alone. That's just with the engine alone. Now you have the chassis to deal with. How are you going to operate, or how are you going to put the chassis on the car? Like, what one are you going to pick, I should say? Are you going to go for a rally build? Hey, are you going to go for a top speed build, etc.? What brakes do you want? Does it even matter if you want brakes or need brakes? Or are you going to need the perfect brake for racing? The whole deal. And then tires mean a lot. You want to go off-roading, you want to drift, you want to slightly drift, you want a race car, you want a drag racer, you want an off-roader, etc. So that's two things that completely change your car. You have a specific engine, your car's changed. Then, to accommodate that change, you go with the chassis. But to accommodate those two, now you have the drivetrain. Now, the clutch is very simple. The clutch is the simplest thing in this whole game. The clutch is the one thing that is it's the most simplified shit ever. When it comes to clutch, the best is the most expensive. That's what that is. If you don't have access to the most expensive or to the best one, then in your case, the best one is the most expensive. So if you're starting out, okay, every car starts off with sport, or every car starts off with something lower, right? So we'll say, okay, you start off with Sport Plus, that's not that good. But if you have access to Pro, it's better. If you have access to Pro Plus, it's better, etc., etc. So when it comes to clutch, that's the most clear cut. So it's the Elite Plus. Now, like I said, if you want to make sure the car is at its prime that it can be, not only do you have to think about the engine you're putting in it, you also have to think about the chassis you're putting in it. Also, you gotta look at the drivetrain. Now, if your engine, if it's the best engine for the car, you gotta make sure that you're putting in the right speed, the gearbox. Now, yes, some of these, they might say it's the best gearbox, but there is a way to make sure that it is the best gearbox. There is a way to check that, and I will get into that here in a bit. But for this car, for the 6.2 V8, 7-speed, if you use an automatic. Now, admittedly, my Aston Martin is not probably fully primed for racing. It has the idea, but what I'm basically talking about, though, is what the core of the car is. And the core of the car is the engine and what all you have on it. That's the core of the car. And to accommodate that, Elite Plus clutch and the right gearbox. That is the core of the car. The thing to make it even better is the chassis and the differential. Now, I don't know if the person that I was commenting to, I don't know if they're watching this right now, but if it's possible you are here, do feel free to ask questions, because I'm probably gonna ramble a little bit and get people lost. But yeah, essentially the main course of every car is the engine, the clutch, and the gearbox. Now, and to make sure your car is perfect or it's on a better track, then you go with the chassis and the differential. Now, the way to tell that your car has the perfect gearbox or which speed is the best one for it, not only do you see it on the stats, because right there, that says that has worse acceleration. Now my level just went down. It's now at 392 instead of 400 plus. That's one way of telling, but sometimes you don't have that indicator for every car. Okay? I can't think of an example right now, but there are cars where you'll look at the stats and they look the same despite it saying 7-speed, 6-speed. The way to tell which one is better is simple. You go to the live tuning, and I will show that. Now this car may not be the best example to show what I'm talking about fully, but this is a car where I can still show you exactly what I'm talking about in one aspect. So in case you don't know, with the Aston Martin 6.2 V8 best engine, Corvette Grand Sport engine, sounds like this. Alright, let's get straight to the point. The way to tell the car has the best gearbox, let's go with, you go to the live tuning. Now, I don't know if my stream has terrible quality, but I'm going to get into that. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, about right here. Okay. Right now, not only does it tell you the top speed, but what's important when it comes to gearbox is the 1/4 mile. It says 986 right now. That's with the 4-speed. Now, if we go to the 5-speed, which says it's statistically better, now it says 960. That's way better. But the reason why I'm going with the 7-speed is because it's the absolute best for the car. Because we went from 980 or something, 960 to now 933. That is way better. This is the best gearbox for the car. Okay? Now, there are some cars where this is not so clean and cut. That is where you have to actually test the car yourself. Okay? I will give an example, but I'm going to explain it first, and then I'm going to show you. So, let's say there's a 6-speed and a 7-speed gearbox. They're both considered the best gearbox. Now, if there's no stat here or here that tells you which is better, the 6-speed or the 7-speed, the absolute best way to test that is drive the car. Because in order for a car to be good, it needs to go through the gears quickly and efficiently. If it's bogging down, you have the wrong gearbox, you have the wrong speed. If it's changing gears in a bad way, that lets you know, okay, it could be better. So, I have to find a car for an example for that, but essentially, hold on. Okay. So essentially, when looking at the gearbox, let me see if I can find an example. Because there is an example, I just can't remember it from the top of my head. It might be one of my main cars.
It's like half the racers on the street don't even remember what we've done for the city.
Let's check this car. No, it's not the Lambo. Well, it might be this. 6-speed. Yeah, this is a prime example. Well, you know it's my main car, too. Okay. This is a prime example of what I'm talking about with gearboxes. There's some cars, it won't flat out tell you that they're better or worse. And if you're an automatic driver, even then, if you're a manual driver, you'll probably still experience these downsides. Okay? Now, this car says, you know, it has, this is the best, right? But notice, when we look at this, the 4-speed, which in real life, that is an insane gap. How could a car be the same speed it was, having a 4-speed and a 6-speed? There's no way for that to be possible. So if you're looking at the game's different, but you need to think about it with a little bit of logic. So how in the hell would a 6-speed be as good as a 4-speed? That's because it's not. The game doesn't tell you that, and it doesn't show you that, but this 4-speed is not as good. It's not. It don't tell you statistically, as you can see, but I'm going to show you why it's worse. There's many examples like that in this whole game. And there's one more thing about live tuning that's very crucial. Very crucial. And that is drift style. I'll make that quick point and then I'll get back to this. Okay. Okay. This is crucial. Hold on. I'm trying to get this in a better light, so it's not blinding or terrible to see. Okay, right there. The most crucial thing about some of these cars is not only the live tuning, but drift style. There is some cars in this game, it doesn't tell you, and it might seem like placebo, it's not. A lot of muscle cars in this game, muscle cars, and certain cars, do not drive better with the drift style being gas. There's some muscle cars that are completely better, and there's actually one car in particular, it is leagues different with the drift style. And I should have made that example with that car, but I'll do it here in a minute. But when you change it with some cars, this does make a difference. It depends on the car, but this does make a difference. Not every car, but specific cars. Now, traction control, that's technically useless. But there has been some cars where maybe you could use it. Maybe. But that's theoretically. The only cars to do this is very slidey cars. And I'm saying very slidey cars. Not, oh, it's just a little slidey. No, I'm saying you can't even make a turn and it'll just kick out from underneath you. But that's theoretically. But back to the point. We will get back to drift style in a second. Just hold up. Back to the gearbox point real quick. So how are we going to figure out which is better, 6-speed or 4-speed? Well, let's look at the 4-speed. Statistically, it does the same. Okay, so the 1/4 mile is 897. What about the 6-speed? What's the 6-speed? Is it better? That looks like that's a bit better. 893. Let me check. Yeah, that's better. It's better. And unless I'm not like, hold on. Let me make sure. And again, if it doesn't show you in live tuning, then just drive the car. Yeah, 897, that's worse. But with the 6-speed, even though it's statistically the same, it's not the same. Because that said 97, 6-speed says 93. That's better. Another way to tell, if live tuning doesn't tell you that it's better or worse, just drive the car. Because watch what it does when you give it a worse gearbox. Okay. You gotta pay attention to the car and the sound. You gotta pay attention to its speed, how it changes gears. Okay? We're going with the 4-speed. Let's see how it acts. Right there. Did you hear how it bogged down? That is not good for racing. For any kind of racing. It bogging down like that, it's going slower. That means it's no good. One more time. Look at that. That is not good. That's terrible. It's taken too long to get to top speed. This is why you need to pay attention to every aspect. So now, let's look at the 6-speed. It has to be better than that. Okay, 6-speed. Look at that. And it hit the 6th gear. It's way better. It hit its top gear. Way quicker. Way quicker. It hit top speed way quicker. That lets you know the 6-speed is better. Even if statistically it says they're the same. One, the live tuning says otherwise. Two, if the live tuning doesn't say otherwise, then driving the car will say otherwise. Okay. Now we're going to go back to what I was saying with drift style. There's a perfect car for this example. Perfect car for this example. Let me get the car.
Man, the cops are out for blood today, am I right? Torres must be even more of a hard ass than Mercer.
Okay. There is one car where drift style will show you exactly what I'm talking about. I have too many cars. Bear with me here. On a side note, if the person I was talking to isn't watching, completely fine. Sorry about that. But, I mean, if you are watching, hopefully this is a learning experience. And there's a reason why I have this car set up this way. But we'll get to that later. There's a lot of misconceptions about this game. People think it's very simplified. It's not that simple. When you get into the top end of a car, it is not clean cut and dry. It's very unique in every aspect. There is no simplicity in this game. If you play casually, then yeah. But if you play at top, if you want to have a car at its top level, if you want a car at its top level, it's way more intricate than people think this game is. So, okay. Okay. You may notice this is a supercar or hypercar. Why do I have it in the drift style brake? No one changes that if you're playing casually, so why do I have it like that? It's because this car is a prime example of what I'm talking about. Let's see how it acts when we put it to gas. Alright. You see that? Okay. Hopefully this car doesn't make me look stupid, but from what I can 100% remember, this car turns badly in gas drift style. Not that it does turn, not that it's like a boat, it turns in a bad way, for me at least. And if you noticed, I think it seemed it had too much grip, way too much grip. So much grip that it came and turned correctly. Or it can't, you're trying to make a hard turn, it will crash. Whereas, let's see what happens when we put it to gas. Correction, let's see what happens when we put it to brake. Because we had it at gas, it turns funny. Let's put it at brake. Look at that. Look at that. That's a huge difference. Okay. Again, look at the turning radius while it's in brake. Like, you see that? Let's get more speed. Hell, it's even sliding a little bit. So some cars benefit from this. Not all cars, but some. In brake, this turns way better. It has a way better turning angle. It might slide a little bit, but it turns way better. Let's put it back on gas and let's see that turning radius become dog shit. Alright, I think we're in gas. Look at that. Way more grip. Way more grip. It don't even want to slide anymore. Let's get it on more even ground here. Alright. That turning radius has completely changed. And that's just from drift style, from gas to brake. So some cars really benefit from this. This is one of them. This is the best example in the whole game. The Aston Martin Vulcan, I believe. Yeah, the Aston Martin Vulcan is the best car to show off this deal. This is not a placebo. You've seen it. The turning radius was way better on brake. On gas, it sticks to the ground way too much, and it doesn't want to turn. It's not placebo. There are some cars that don't need this. But there's a lot of cars that do need this. Hey, how you doing? But yes. So that's another thing that either YouTube won't tell you or some videos won't tell you. That is something that people don't know. I'm basically, I'm talking about builds of a car in Need for Speed Heat. A lot of people think it's very simplified. It's not. It's very intricate. This game has a lot of stuff going for it, and just like I said right there, the best example to showcase that even live tuning changes the dynamic of the car, the Aston Martin Vulcan is the best example of that. It completely changed the car. I'm basically just going over what makes a car build. I'm basically going over common misconceptions or what people don't know about. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
Go on, make yourself comfortable.
Now, mind you, like I keep saying, or like I've been saying, not only was that just one engine, but every engine changes the dynamic of your car. Every engine does. Every engine changes the dynamic. So, okay. So again, just to reiterate, the engine, the clutch, and the gearbox, that is the heart of the car. And to accommodate that, you go with everything in chassis. That means suspension. But the most important parts is suspension and tires. And also to accommodate is differential. Brakes isn't a gray area. But the most important parts to accommodate the car is suspension, tires, differential. And just to make it a little bit more fine-tuned, you would probably do brakes. But there's a reason why some of these cars, I have different brakes on them. Now, going back to the Aston Martin, I think it's the DB5. Best engine for this car, 6.2 V8. That's the Corvette Grand Sport engine. Okay. And like I said before, I probably could make this car turn better. But the point of this whole thing is to get into misconceptions and what people don't understand about how the cars work in this game. And I guess common nuances that cars don't usually, a lot of people don't understand about the nuances of cars. So a car could be really fast. That doesn't mean it turns good. A car could have a lot of grip, but can it turn perfectly? Can it hold its own weight, etc.? Does the engine, is the weight distribution great? Like power to weight, is it good? Is the takeoff good? Is the drivetrain going to accommodate all that? Etc., etc. Now, if you are trying to mess with a lot of these cars, you have to also understand what is their drivetrain. Is it front wheel drive? Is it rear wheel drive? Or is it all wheel drive? That is something else you have to think about. Now, when it comes to older cars, or a good portion of them, they probably are rear wheel drive. But there are some cars that are all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive. But yes, I don't think the person I was talking to got to see this. Completely fine. This is still something to be talked about anyways. So there you are. I mean, there might be a little bit more things to discuss, but basically hit all the points. I'll just try to reiterate some of them quickly as I can. Heart of the car. Everything in the engine, the clutch, and the gearbox. I will admit though, the gearbox, it technically is something to accommodate the car, but you'll figure that out if you really mess with tuning the cars. The second most important thing are technically intertwined with another important thing with the car is suspension, tires, differential. And once you have everything else down, everything else, live tuning, engine, suspension, tires, differential, clutch, gearbox. Once you figured out your car, then you make the decision on if the brakes are good enough. Yeah, that's how you do that. You make sure what your car is good with in drift style. So let's look at this car one more time. Let's see what's good for this thing. Because again, a lot of this stuff is nuances, and a lot of people don't understand that. Well, some of these cars, or car games, or cars in general, but there's nuances to make a car perfect, or at least fit what you want. Alright, so for the old Aston Martin, drift style to brake, that seems to be the best thing. Because if it's on gas, it's like I said before, it probably doesn't turn as good, or the turning radius is probably not as good. This won't be for every car, mind you, but for cars that struggle a little bit, like the Aston Martin, you want to put that on brake. Now, the reason why I haven't got into this and this, steering sensitivity, downforce, and what tires to put on, etc., is because some of that is preference. Some of it. If you want a car for racing in circuits or sprints, you want race tires for most cars. For most cars. And I will explain that. Race tires. For most cars, that is common. If your car slides a bit more and is really good at turning, then sometimes, if you want a decent car for racing, you want to go for track tires. Unless statistically it may be, but whatever. The reason why I say this is because if your car turns really good but has bad traction, or the traction could be better, then, or you want it to be a full-on, grip demon, then you go with track tires. Because if your car is already too good, you don't want to put track tires on it. You're only making it worse on yourself, unless that's what you want. Unless you want it to drive with a certain edge to it, then you go with track tires. But again, some of that is preference. That's why I don't go into some of these too much, because here's an example. If you're using a muscle car, I would rather use race tires, because putting track tires on it is probably just going to make it unnecessarily bad. Even if I could drive it with track tires, it's probably not worth it. But If you have a good sports car, or a car that's just good at driving, maybe you consider track tires. So that's why I don't get into tires, what suspension, and what differential, is because that is also nuanced. And that's not something I could just say, oh yeah, the best is this, this, and that. It is clear cut for some cars. For muscle cars, you always want to go with super suspension, super track suspension. With muscle cars, a lot of the time you want super track suspension, elite race tires, and a good portion of the time you want super track differential. Yeah, that's for most muscle cars. But if your car is really good, you don't need some of that stuff, which I will make an example of. See, a lot of this becomes really nuanced, and a lot of this becomes what's your preference, and this gets into a gray area. Because a lot of times games, oh, it's simple. You just put this and this is the best thing. Some cars are like that, but not all of them. Because example, this car, the Aston Martin Vulcan. There is a reason why I don't have super track suspension. There's a reason why I don't have super track differential. There's a huge reason why I don't have these things. The car naturally turns decently. Well, okay, let me take that back. The car turns good once you put the drift style to brake. Okay? So now that we figure that out, we put this car drift style to brake instead of gas. And now we're testing the car in its best state. So in its best state, I don't feel the need to add anything on this car because it already has enough grip. If you add any of this on it, on this car in particular, you're not going to be able to turn it. It's going to be worthless. That is why mine has stock on this car. But I will say, this probably isn't something that everyone would do on this particular car. That's preference, etc. Steering sensitivity, that helps your car turn a little better, or turn quicker, or it has a quicker response. At least some cars. If your car is slow at turning, that might help you. There are downsides. It might be too twitchy. It might be terrible at low RPMs to turn, etc. This gets really, really nuanced. It's not so simple. So you go with downforce. It's like it implies. If you want better traction, you hit right, or you go notches to right, because that increases downforce. If you want less downforce and a tiny bit better top speed, not that much better top speed, but a tiny bit, then you go with left notches on downforce. So essentially, if you want less for steering sensitivity or downforce, you go left. If you want more steering sensitivity and downforce, you go right. But again, that gets into how your car is made, etc., etc., etc. A lot of nuance. A lot of that is opinions, preference. It's not really clear cut. I mean, I could help with certain things, but again, you have to know what you want. Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's cars in the game. They don't mind bumps that often, and there's other cars that hate bumps. And I mean any kind of bump. And even if it's not a bump, there's cars that will clip the ground and start flying. There's some great cars that have this issue, and there's a lot of bad cars that have that issue. But you have to either work around that or just accept the car's downsides. A really good car that has this issue is the Corvette Grand Sport. We'll get to it. And no, side note, if you were paying attention, no, I did not pass my Grand Sport. I have specific favorite cars. This is the Grand Sport I like more. There was one earlier in the list, of my car list. That's not the one I want. I want this one right here. So, Corvette Grand Sport, really good car. Biggest downside is it clips the ground, or it'll ramp off of things for no reason. Really good car, but that's a huge downside. There's theories that you can mitigate this by messing with the stance of the car or the ride height. There's theories that you can fix it or help it with air suspension. But to be quite honest, I may try these things, but in all honesty, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. But if it does, hey, cool, that's good. But for me, it doesn't seem to make a difference. Even though I try it myself. I don't think it makes much of a difference, but I do it myself just in case it is real. I do think that's a placebo, or I do think that if it does help, the values is not that much better. So if it does help, it's not by much. But it might be enough. Or it might just be bearable enough. But at this point, I would be reiterating a lot of things. There's too much nuance, there's too much etc. That's just a bit of a basics on it, and a little bit in depth, more. This is probably the best where you'll get some of this information, because a lot of people either don't talk about this on YouTube or they just don't explain it correctly. I've been playing this game for a long time. I've been dealing with all kinds of cars, all kinds of builds. I 100% feel confident in what I've found and what I've dealt with in this game. There's obviously some things to work on, and there's obviously some things I still don't know about. But then again, how can you blame me, and how can you call me a fraud when all these engines change the car? All these engines. With this engine, this is a really good car. With this engine, it might just be bearable. With this one, that's probably dog shit. Etc. 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 So, all I do know for certain is a lot of cars' best engines. That's what I know for certain. There are some funky cars, but those are niche. They are not common. Now this car in particular, it probably would have a better engine. And it probably does have a better engine. But I didn't say that this was the best engine in this car. I just have it in mind. But when I do go into a car's best engine and I give you the engine, I tell you what is the best engine, I am 95% sure that's the best engine. That percentage is if a car is niche, and that's it. Yeah, that's probably it. You need to learn your car. You need to. You need to understand your car. You need to fiddle with things. You need to understand it correctly, etc., etc. Otherwise, like I was saying, the Aston Martin Vulcan, if you use it stock, you would probably think it's the worst car in the whole game. That thing barely can turn. Stock. But once you start fiddling with it, it's not so bad. It's actually pretty decent. Pretty good. That is where you have to put the effort in yourself. Yeah. And a lot of the money that my character has, that is because of me playing the game, not me doing glitches. That's something else a lot of players, they tend to do or say or whatever. Oh, I need glitches. If you just play the game like I've been playing the game, then you would know a lot of these things, or you would make this money. You would make this kind of money. I'm not saying, this is not some kind of weird flex or anything. I'm just saying, you know, if you play the game, you don't need to do these glitches and etc. It's a car game. You literally just race. It's that simple. And if you actually want to get decent at some things or want to have fun, then having fun means you actually play the game and try to learn your shit. I've played the game, I've tried to learn my shit, and I'm at a point where I could confidently say I know the best engine for a lot of these cars. If I forget some of them, all I need to do is pick it up, play with it, and boom. Best engine is this. That simple. And that's how the game goes. Some things is simplified, some things is not. There you have it. That's probably it. There might be theories. What do you know? I just keep finding things to talk about. There might be theories that a car's wing, a car's wing affects it in the game. There might be theories that a car's body kit or customizations mess with it. And even if it could be possible, some of it is either placebo or who knows. Maybe there's some cars slightly affected, but from what I can tell, it's either placebo or maybe there is some cars with this unique change in dynamic due to customizations. But for the most part, I wouldn't think too hard about it. So that is another deal. Customizations, I don't feel they actually do that much of a difference. At best, if it does, there's only one car I can think of that might have this issue, and that's the Polestar. Let me check mine. But yeah, I kind of would have liked to have got into this with the person I was talking to, or I was giving a comment to. I would have liked for them to kind of see this and everything, but obviously that comes off as self-promoting, and it probably is. I don't mean to self-promote. I just really like this game. Whatever games I really like, and I actually care for, I actually do want to help out. It's not self-promoting. I don't make money off this. I don't make money doing any of this. And if I like, I don't know, a fighting game or a racing game, and I really like it, I'm not trying to self-promote, or I'm not trying to be a leech. Hey, if you just want to learn something, I try to do that. And I don't try to give fake stuff either. I try to do my best to give the best knowledge and the best, I try to give the best information, tips, tricks, etc. So with this car, who knows, it might be possible that the Polestar might be a car where the dynamics or how it operates is different because of customizations. It might. But then again, it's either placebo or I can't really tell. Because I do have two Polestars. This is one of them. My other one has these wheel arches. Now I will admit, if any car might have this issue, it might be the Polestar. Might. Because from what I can recall, this Polestar, whenever I'm racing, usually has probably more issues. But then again, that could be placebo. That could really be placebo. But I have another Polestar, and I'm going to get that one, where it doesn't seem like it has as much problems while I'm racing. I don't know how many times I said, oh yeah, that's it, that wraps it up. And I just keep finding more things to talk about with this game. I must have passed it. Holy hell. Hold on. Okay. Again, this could be 100% placebo, but from my memory, this Polestar, I don't really feel that many issues with it, with this particular Polestar. My other one, from what I can remember, if it's not placebo, when it has this kit on it, it usually clips the ground or flips, etc. But like I said, this one probably does still have issues. It's either placebo, or maybe it does feel better with this body kit, or wheel arches, customizations. So some people say it's probably customizations. I don't know. I don't think it has weight, but maybe some cars do. But all I can say is, I don't know if the person is watching, the one that I was trying to give advice to. I don't know if you're watching. I don't know if you'll ever see this. But if anyone else is seeing this, hopefully you learned something from it. I will admit, this is not a video, so it's probably not going to get seen as much, but this will be a live stream that will wrap up at some point, and I will keep it around. I'm not going to delete it, but I mean, unless you're watching, if you want to hear all that again, I can reiterate. But honestly, that might wrap it up. That might be it, unless I can think of anything else. Who knows? I might just customize a car, or I might just race or something. We'll see. But if anyone's watching and you want to ask any questions or just have a little conversation, we could do that. Or if you're just watching, you know, you could just do that. Just watch if you want. But I'm up for questions if you want. I'm gonna look at my cars. And a lot of my cars, I do my own liveries. Some of them are basic as hell. Some of them are probably funky, but a number of them are my own original liveries, or wraps, vinyl, whatever you want to call it. I guess one more thing. If you do use a car with brake drift style, there are a little bit of tips and tricks with some of that. Let's say the car still acts up sometimes when turning. Sometimes you do double tap acceleration and then turn, and that will help you drift better or turn better. Other times you might need to double tap acceleration and brake a little bit to turn better. Or sometimes you might need to try to tap brake, tap gas. You know, there's funky things like that, but you gotta feel that stuff out for yourself. A lot of this stuff is experience, learning it for yourself. That's what a lot of it is. And like I always say, you gotta learn your car. If you don't know your car, then you won't you won't understand it, you won't get good at it. So if you don't learn your car, you know, that's on you. If your car is legitimately bad, that sucks. I guess I could get into that too. What cars do suck and what are very just mediocre. I guess I'll do that. I'll get into bad cars and unique anomalies, etc. So what do you know? I guess there is a couple more things to talk about in this game. Alright. Sadly, when it comes to what's good, what's bad in this game, most of the time, you're not going to use trucks for track racing or racing events. Too big, too slow, and if they are fast, they lack handling capabilities. This one might be one of the best trucks in the game for racing, but that is not saying much. Not saying much. But this is a pretty cool thing to drive around here and there. I still use it for races once in a while. I probably don't win, but it's cool. So a lot of trucks, SUVs, any big vehicle like this. Probably not a racing machine. But this is better of a lot of those things. Another decent bigger vehicle would be the Rover. The Rover is not too bad, but it is difficult as well. Mind you, a lot of these are not as good as mid cars. Okay. They're good for big vehicles, they're not good for cars. So the Chevy truck, the Land Rover, they're cool, but they're not going to be on pace with cars. The Panamera, it may not be a big vehicle, but it is a big car, or it is a big funky deal, right? This is actually pretty decent. It's not the greatest car, but it's alright. It's better than what a lot of people imagine. And the BMW M5 is better than what a lot of people imagine. Let me find that car real quick. Yeah, this car. A lot of people don't expect it to be that good. This thing is actually a lot better than people even think. This thing is a bit underrated. The Panamera is a little bit underrated too. M5 BMW, Porsche Panamera, both a bit underrated. But that probably calls it there. I probably could go on, but that's it. Hopefully this catches on. Some people get something out of this. If you're a pro player or cracked out, good, insane player, a lot of this is probably useless. But to those who are casual, who, you know, maybe they play the game, they're pretty good, but they don't know this intricate details, this is for you. You know, this is for information, for people that's new, for people that don't understand certain things, or people that want another look at things that they don't look at too much. So there it is. Unless someone has any questions, then I might wrap it up soon. I'll take questions. Alright, let's see. But yeah. If there's any questions, I'll take that. I might elaborate a little bit longer on some of these cars, a little bit. Let's go back to the start. A lot of people probably think that this is a good car, broken or overpowered. I don't really think it. And if the Volkswagen Beetle is one of the best cars in the game, you either need to be really good, you either need a really good build, or you need the right track, the right racetrack, the right scenario, etc. This thing is not outright. Let's say you're the best player in the world. I still don't think this car is outright one of the best cars in the game, even if you're the best in the world. Because this thing still has a lot of weaknesses that other cars do not have. This has weaknesses. It may not seem like it, but it does. It's quite niche for what it is. Hardest car in the game to probably try to deal with. I don't think it's worth using it, but if you're really good with it, whatever, cool. But I think it's overhyped. Even if you can do great with it, I don't think it's a stable car. I don't think there's ever a time where it's a stable, reliable car to use. It's a wild card at best. There's another car like it as well. Actually, a few more like it. So this is not considered a great car, or this is probably not even considered to be in the top tier. But this thing operates very similarly to a Volkswagen Beetle, handling wise. Even if you can do good with it, that's good. That's great. That's very nice. This is probably a lot more stable than the Volkswagen, but that's not saying much, because this is not stable. It's more stable by comparison, but it's not. It's not a stable car, I should say. The M3 E92 BMW, it's nice. I wouldn't recommend it as a stable, good car, just like the Beetle. But there's one more car that fits the same exact deal as both of these. There might be a few more, but these are the highlights. And that car would be the Lamborghini Huracan. This is another good car, or decent car, if you can use it correctly, or if you could do this and that. But just like the other two, I don't think it's that stable. It might be the most stable of the three, Of these three unstable cars, this might be the most stable. Might. But that's not saying much. And even if it is saying much, okay. But it's still not more stable than actual good cars. So, if you want that same feeling of the Beetle, but you don't want to feel like it's going to kill you every 2 seconds, you probably go with the Lamborghini Huracan. Or the BMW M3 E92 2010 model. Or is it 2009? I don't know. But those are three cars that are unstable. They lose traction, or you have to feather the steering a lot. That is a little annoying to deal with. And even if it's not annoying, it's a little overbearing, or it's a little, it can get tedious over time. But yeah. I think it legitimately is about time to wrap it up now. Okay. Unless someone has a question, I'll answer it, or I'll give thoughts. Other than that, if you don't have a question, or if you don't want a conversation or whatever, I might wrap it up. Because this has been going on for a little bit, and this is probably going to get boring real quick. So unless someone has a question or something, conversation, etc., then I'll probably hop out of here.
Hey, park it up. Take a load off.
Okay. This is probably going to be it. If anyone wants to know what this whole thing was about, this whole stream, check it after the stream is ended, because I do drop some tips, tricks, knowledge, concepts, ideas, etc. If you want to learn anything, it's possible you might learn something about this game, Need for Speed Heat. I'm gonna probably end the stream, but whether or not anyone will learn anything, that's whatever. But alright, that's probably it. That's all I got, unless there's any, I don't know, but that's probably gonna be it. Yes, sir.